All right, hello YouTube, and thank you for tuning in as always to Auto Transport for Dummies, where we talk about all the things you dummies want to know. So in this clip, we're actually just going to be running through some of the alternatives that people are gravitating towards lately. Shipley, USHIP, trying to find sites to post your own load on, looking for options on Facebook, things like that. That's what we're going to be talking about, and if those options are actually reliable, are they a good idea, blah blah blah. We're also going to talk about what a pass-through company is, in case you have not heard of the term, but there is an increasing amount of these pass-through companies all over the internet. They're very active on Shipley, USHIP. They're actually becoming very active on Central Dispatch now also, which is the commercial load board. They're finding ways to get around regulatory type measures. And I think it's starting to look like Central's even having to take it somewhat seriously, because there's so much fraud going on where loads are sent out to a trucking company. That trucking company that's supposed to haul it, instead of hauling it, they actually send it to another trucking company. That company might broker it out again. And this is becoming a major problem. And we have a lot of ways that we actually can tell if a company is doing this. But this is just another one of those details that 9 out of 10 companies aren't paying attention to. And if you're a client doing this on your own, you really are not going to have any idea. For example, I just posted a vehicle the other day as a test run on Shipley, which has become kind of a popular option alternative to USHIP, just to see what was going on there. And it was just a basic transport inquiry request going from like Florida to Tennessee or something. And within 24 hours, I had like 300 emails like offering to ship this vehicle. And of course I didn't put my real number in there, because my God, I probably wouldn't have been able to use my phone. Also, you probably want to know, as for your own knowledge, that USHIP and Shipley are just more or less pass-through entity. You might be asking yourself, what the heck is a pass-through company? So a pass-through company is essentially an additional middleman. It's a company that, like, we send a load out to a trucking company, and typically the trucking company is supposed to actually haul this vehicle. But in this scenario, the company just dispatches it yet again and takes some kind of a cut out of it. They dispatch it a second or third time to another trucking company. And this is exactly what goes on Shipley, USHIP, most of those aggregators. You're just going through yet another layer before it actually lands with the final trucking company that actually hauls the vehicle. So you want to really avoid these situations and find a way, like using Air Ride, using a legit company that gets that load directly with the trucking company that actually moves the vehicle. If you're curious as to what kind of problems these pass-throughs create, you can just kind of use your imagination. But if the original client has no idea or connection to the eventual transporter moving it, well, the transporter has no idea what the client was quoted. The client has no idea what the truck's actually expecting to be paid. The person who originally quoted the order's long gone. There's no accountability going on. All the truck knows that's hauling it is they got some contract from some Yahoo that says they're going to be paid X amount, and the next thing you know, they're telling the client that it's $300 or $400 higher than the original number. This is the kind of stuff that happens. Now, we understand that there's a large appeal to these alternatives like Shipley and USHIP, and we've heard of some other random load boards also, where like people are looking for some way around what they perceive as outrageous brokers or scam-like companies, which like is probably half the industry practically. And they want to go straight to a trucking company because they think that's going to save them money. It's going to be more reliable. It makes a lot more sense. And honestly, on its face, that does make a lot of sense. The issue, of course, with going directly with any trucking company, including even when I was hauling cars, is that it has to make sense from the trucking company's perspective to pick up any load. So for instance, I had some clients in Chicago that used to want me to move their car from Chicago to Scottsdale. But I remember I got sick one year and I just couldn't make it. And they were all furious. They were unhappy and all this type of thing. And this is why, more or less, like, And I didn't really care because I wasn't operating any kind of online company at the time, so it's not like they can leave me a bad review for not coming. Furthermore, at the time, I was sitting in Kansas City, right? So I actually have to get a load out to Chicago to make sense just for the first leg. Then I got to get loads back coming to Arizona and loads coming out of Arizona back to KC or wherever I want to go next. So a trucking company has to string together an entire load. Whereas a broker, they just put the load out on the load boards, they look for the best option in that area, and that load will bring out and bring, the nearest available trucking companies to that load, and it'll do so at the most efficient, lowest price, and get the vehicles moved the quickest generally. The issue is not so much like brokering. It's not like that brokering is an inherently evil thing. I mean, that's how like all freight in the U.S. moves anyway. I mean, if Home Depot or Lowe's or Walmart wants to move something and their trucks aren't capable of moving it, they've got to use a broker, or they got to broker it out themselves to get other trucks to come move that freight. So this goes on in all over the world. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just that the players in this particular auto shipping corner of the shipping world are just so bad. And that's the difference. Like there's just so many of these people coming out of the woodwork trying to play middleman, trying to play triple middleman. Now, yet another thing you want to avoid, want to be aware of, that has really been going on for so long now, is just this modus operandi of all these transport companies online. I mean, the standard way of operating that a lot of people, I've argued with a lot of people online about, is this zero down game where you put your info in, you book the order, zero down, all this is great. And then this transport company is supposedly going out and locating a trucking company to move that car. And then once they do, you go ahead and put your deposit down and all that. Well, this sounds great on its face, again, like a lot of the things in this industry, but it actually causes far more problems than it solves. And that is simply because what happens and what situation this whole way of operating creates is this sort of race to dispatch situation where all these companies, because often somebody will put like their order on 3 or 4 different sites. So what happens is these companies, they operate in such a way where it's a race to dispatch. They just want to get that order out immediately. Boom, boom, boom. Like they don't care what company calls in on it. They don't care what the quality is that a company calls in with. And that's because they know as soon as they get this vehicle dispatched, or anybody on it, doesn't matter who it is, could be a pass-through, could be any kind of type of company, could have been a company that just got their DOT last week. As long as they're a member of Central Dispatch, they're going to send this order out, and that's because they want a deposit. So instead of doing a good job for the client and taking their time, being selective, now the entire incentive is just to dispatch it to any imaginable carrier and get a deposit. Okay? So instead of the company you're hiring to look for a quality option, the pressure now is just to find any option. And people always want to debate me on this, but it solves nothing, because let's just say, even if they do find a company, even if it is a good company, that you still have to trust this company at that point, because they're not going to give you the trucking company info when they find one. Otherwise, you could just contact them directly and they're not going to make any money. So you have to trust them either at the front part of the order or later on in the process after they supposedly find a carrier. So you still have to trust them when you put some type of deposit down at some point. So if you don't trust them to begin with, when you book the order, why are you trusting them a few days later or hours later when they supposedly find a carrier? And now you don't even know what carrier it is, you don't know what equipment they have, you don't know where they found them, you don't know what their DOT is. So tell me, I really want the Twitter warriors out there and car shipping broker people out there to really explain to me what problem this solves. You all know what you do out there. You race to find any option imaginable. I used to haul cars. I know how it goes. Something gets posted on Central that's even remotely good. Next thing you know, it's off Central immediately because the first idiot that calls in, you brokers out there, just boom, send it out. I'll have my friend TJ talk about this, who's still hauling right now. Okay, he'll call in within seconds on a load and it's already sent out. Well, how the F is that even possible? Well, it's possible because the only goal is to just dispatch it out. They don't care what carrier calls in on it.
Anytime something is posted on Central, it's gone instantly. Within 20 seconds, it's gone.
Towards the end of so many of our videos, we have so many viewers that are like, all right, Wes, you tell us all this stuff, you tell us all this crazy stuff to look out for, and then you don't even tell us what company to use. So we do that because we don't really want to come off as like, hey, here's the info, we're going to just push our company with it. Like a couple channels I could probably mention, Car Coach Reports. I mean, give me a break. It's nothing but a shill for this dynamic auto mover. So yeah, we obviously endorse our own company, but we're not going to sit here and stand on our, on our rock like we're the only company out there. Of course, there's some other companies doing good things, but that's going to be up to you guys to find, because we're putting this info out for free. Our only benefit is that people find Air Ride, they come and book a transport with us. So, and it's been great. I mean, so many people have found us through this channel and continue to do so. And our goal at the end of the day, which we've been working on for probably 2 years now, is just to, have our own proprietary load board, which we already have at airride.com, have only trucking companies on our system, so that people can honestly post a load like they post on Shipley, like on USHIP. But the difference is that our clients are gonna know that any bids they get from trucking companies or companies on our system are legit trucking companies that have been verified by Air Ride, not this craziness that you see going on so many of these sites. No brokers, no pass-throughs, no triple brokering, no craziness. No companies outside the country. So that's really the way we think it should work, and that's what we're working on. But for now, we still have to post a lot of loads on Central, because it still is the Facebook of car hauling, where the vast majority of loads move, and it's a commercial only system. So what can you do? It takes time to change things, but we put the info out there, we don't hide anything, and we arm our clients with all the knowledge that they could possibly have, so that they have a good experience. So anyway, appreciate you guys watching the channel. Hit us up on the next. I don't even know how to say my sign off anymore. But with that, I'll leave you guys to it. And happy hauling. Oh, and Merry Christmas.